back to this. Alright, so this is a slide of the scalp again where you're gonna have relatively thin skin, and we can see the hair follicles again. Alright, so if we look alongside the hair follicles, you'll see these thin strands of muscle here running along the sides of the follicles. I was trying to find one where you see it. Alright, so those are your erector pili muscle. Alright, so we see a little piece of it here. Alright, so yeah, so that's smooth muscle. Alright, so when the muscle contracts, it pulls on the follicles. You know, sometimes when you see your hair standing on end, that's the muscle that's causing that. That's your erector pili muscle. Alright, so you usually see that running alongside the hair follicle. Again, you won't always see it attached to the follicle depending on how the slide is cut, but you will see it pretty close to the follicle. So here, you see a little piece of one here. Alright, so that's a strand, a very thin strand or thin piece of smooth muscle that you see close to your hair follicles. Alright, that's your erector pili muscle. Alright, so this is a slide of the mammary gland just to show you the difference with the glands. Alright. So you'll notice that with these cells, you're seeing a little bit more of a lumen inside the cells. Although these are pretty active, so they're making these are producing milk inside the mammary glands. So you're going to see a little bit more of a lumen. That's one of the few places that you'll find your apocrine sweat glands. Alright, but most of the ones that we see, the scalp, the thick skin, are going to be eccrine sweat glands. Alright, and then the last slide is with a nail. Okay, so this is our scanning view here. Alright, so this is, so inside here you have your bone, you can see the bone, and then this part would be your nail here. Alright, so we have, let me show you that logo. Alright, so again, this is pretty much a low power ID. Alright, so that's our bone here. Remember we looked at that before. And then as we move upwards here, you have this layer of, again, keratinized cells that forms what's called the nail plate. So that's going to be like your actual nail that's sitting on top of the fingers. So that's growing on top of the nail bed. Alright, so you have these cells. So this is the nail root here. We're in the this junction between the nail bed and this part is the cuticle. So that's the part that's sticking above the nail. Go back to the Alright. Yeah. So right here where they meet, that's your nail root. So that's where the cells are proliferating and they're continuously you know, pushing the cells outward, that's going to form your nail plate. So most of it is pulled away, I think, but we can see a little bit of the layer here, all right, where you have the keratinized cells. So that's your nail plate sitting on the nail bed. And then this part here, that's your cuticle or your epinicium, that's sitting right above the nail plate. And then below that, which would be kind of the skin below the nail plate, is your hyponychium, that's extending downwards. So that would be like the tip of your fingers. All right, but pretty much I think all you need to know is the nail plate. So that's that layer of keratin that's sitting on top of the nail bed.
Yeah.
All right, so is that
no, just using the hammer and
oh, I didn't find one that I saw.
Anybody who had Nova slides too, make sure you bring them back. Please. Sweat gland slide, doesn't it usually help when you have one?
hammer and tattoo.
Oh, here we go. All right, so this one is showing the hair bulb. All right, so remember we had our hair follicle. All right, so where your hair follicle extends downwards, you're gonna have this kind of this cup-like structure down here. That's actually your hair bulb. So the hair follicle grows downwards and forms kind of this covering down here. That's the hair bulb. This inside portion is called your dermal papillae. Alright, so again you have this portion that's projecting upwards, that's known as your dermal papillae. So you'll notice that, I don't think you guys had to know like the external root sheath and the internal.
No.
Alright, so it's kind of like you have this external portion here, external root sheath. So that's going to project upwards and form the dermal papillae. Alright, so you have this inward projection, that's your dermal papillae. And then this inner portion here, that's it's just a downward extension of the hair follicle. That's forming the hair bulb. Alright, so that entire thing is going to be your hair root. So the hair bulb and the dermal papillae are going to form the hair root. Okay, and then the hair bulb that extends upwards into the follicle, and then on the inside of the follicle you're going to have your hair shaft. Alright, so this shows a little bit. Alright, so see, notice the follicle that extends downwards into the bulb. This inner portion, that lighter staining portion, that's your dermal papillae. And we can see a little bit of the hair shaft forming here in the middle of the follicle.
The whole thing is hair root.
So the whole thing here, this whole thing is the hair root. So the root consists of the bulb and the dermal papillae.
Which one?
Keratinohyalin.
Oh, and the melanin granules?
Yeah, melanin
Okay.
granule.
Alright, so
Did anybody look on Blackboard before coming to class? There's a note on this lab about how to separate the granules, where they are and what they're located. There's a little like directional term. A lot of people trip over which ones are found in which cells. So take a look at that and it will explain it to you a little bit better. It helped me. Well, no, I'm just telling you it's there, like, for you guys to look at.